All right, so in today's video, we're going to talk about Shakur Stevenson becoming a free agent. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Shakur Stevenson, he posted via his social media that he becomes a free agent. Now, this is very good news for the world of boxing because Shakur Stevenson is a top talent. So anytime you have a top talent and just the idea overall of that top talent maybe spreading their wings and advancing as a fighter and shaking things up, I, for one, I like that. Because at the end of the day, Shakur Stevenson is just that. He's a talented southpaw. He's with currently Top Rank, and he's with Top Rank. He's been with Top Rank, started his career with Top Rank right after the Rio Olympics. This could be good. Because this is what I believe. I personally believe that competition is great. Like, just think about it. If there was no Tidal and Spotify and Pandora, and it was, let's say, a monopoly on streaming music, then that means any particular company that was able to monopolize streaming, that means you have to go with that one provider for all your streaming needs. And you would have no choice in the matter. You would just have to deal with it. So what if you tried this company and the company was bad and it had terrible customer service? Then that means with no competition, if they were the only people that you could go see, then you would be beholden to that. So you would just have to deal with horrific customer service because there are no other options, right? Or sometimes, like, let's say driving to LA for me from the Bay Area. When you make that drive, you could hit like really small cities on the way up to Los Angeles, and there's not that many stores. There's not that many gas stations. So if I'm driving from the Bay Area and back down to Los Angeles, and I don't have a Tesla and I have to fill up with gas, and there's only one gas station between this point of the travel and the Grapevine, which a lot of cars break down on the Grapevine, then guess what? Even if the gas is some crazy price, like $8.97 a gallon, I would have to either have gas on deck, which nobody really goes on road trips and brings the little red carton of gas, and you can only fill up that so much, right? So in other words, you would have to go to that gas station and you would have to pay whatever it is per gallon to at least get you into LA, right? So Shakur Stevenson, with him being a free agent and him being talented, I can truly see that people might want to work with him. You know, maybe Eddie Hearn, maybe PBC, right? And these different companies. Or maybe Top Rank says, we liked working with Shakur Stevenson and we can offer you this. There's a lot of movement in boxing. Right now, the WWE has announced that they are going to be in 2025. They're going to be working with Netflix and putting WWE product on Netflix. I've even seen some people speculate that boxing could arrive on Netflix as well. I mean, we'd have to wait and see, but I wouldn't be surprised. You know, I wouldn't be surprised one bit. Maybe Top Rank gets it, a deal with Netflix. Maybe it's PBC. But with these new emerging players like Amazon Prime, it just makes everything more interesting, at least for me. I become very interested in the whole theory of, you know, where's boxing going on Amazon Prime? What's that going to look like? And things like that. Maybe that lures a guy like Shakur Stevenson in, because let's be honest, Shakur Stevenson, he doesn't always call out people, so I can't really go there and say that. However, Shakur Stevenson, one fight that he is frequently mentioned as the biggest fight is the fight that everyone's mentioning, Shakur Stevenson versus Gervonta Davis. If you listen to all these guys, they all say the same thing. From Devin Haney, he says Shakur Stevenson, you know, is a cool fight, and he talks about it a little bit, but the fight that Devin Haney says is the fight in boxing, the biggest fight, is himself versus Tank. Shakur Stevenson said the same thing. And El Rayo recently knocked out Chris Colbert. Amazing performance, amazing knockout for 2023. Chris Colbert got stretched. Rayo, I think he's a mandatory for Gervonta Davis, and he called out Gervonta Davis. Pitbull Cruz, I understand that he's fighting Rolly. I made a video about it. But Pitbull Cruz himself has called out Tank Davis and says he wants to fight Tank and this and that. So I just named easily off the top of my head at least 4 people that keep mentioning a fight with Tank. And you have others, because I know when he was a champion with the WBC, even guys like Regis Prograis at 140 was calling for a Tank fight. So we know what it is. You guys can say whatever you want about Gervonta Davis, Tank Davis, Abdul Wahid, whatever you want to call him, but just don't call him broke. He's the face of boxing, and it shows because that's the guy everybody wants to fight. That's the guy that everybody mentions. And I would be remiss in this video to not bring up this next point. When it comes to, let's say, Shakur Stevenson or Devin Haney, guys outside of PBC, guys who have not publicly worked with Al Heyman, right? I find it pretty mind-boggling that you have fans accusing Gervonta Davis of ducking. They say, oh, he's ducking. He doesn't want to fight this guy. Oh, he's ducking. He doesn't want to fight that guy. But none of these same fans or YouTubers who make videos or Facebook pages or Instagram pages or TikTokers or whoever's making these comments, this is what they don't tell you. Leave it to your boy Ego. What they don't tell you is, in what world would you have a known great fighter who happens to be the A side as well, but then he got to bend and conform to what anybody who is not in that same leveraged position wants? For example, he has to move up to fight Devin Haney because Devin Haney decided to move up to 140. Oh, but he fought Barrios. Okay, that's what he chose to do. Maybe he didn't like how his body felt at 140. Who knows? But you have that right as a fighter. I mean, if that was the case, then so Shakur Stevenson, he's not talking about moving up to 140 right now. He'll maybe say in the future. Keyshawn Davis is not talking about 140 right now, maybe in the future. So the point I'm making is, just because Ryan Garcia moves or Teofimo Lopez moves or Devin Haney moves up, what does that have to do with your career if you can comfortably make the weight, right? It's just like, just because Deontay Wilder has power doesn't mean every heavyweight has power. The point I'm making is each fighter is their own individual fighter, and they're on their own individual trajectory and path. Furthermore, the other thing that I find mind-boggling is you have people who are spreading this narrative that Tank Davis is ducking all these non-PBC fighters. But for me, the way I look at the game, if you truly wanted to fight Gervonta Davis, why would you not go where the action is at? Why would you not try to enter free agency like some of these guys have and work with Al Heyman? Because if you notice a pattern, when Manny Pacquiao, I believe I will, he's going to fight me? I believe my fight with Adrian Broner, right? When Manny Pacquiao, when he was with Top Rank, he never fought PBC guys outside of Floyd Mayweather. And that's an anomaly of a fight. It's the highest grossing fight of all time. So I'm not even going to consider that and count that as the usual or the standard, because to be honest, they would have been stupid to not make that fight. They all stood to gain so much money. So it would have been pretty pointless if the world went on and all the powers that be did not make the fight. That just doesn't make sense to me. They're not going to do that. So that's an exception to the rule. You got rules and you got things that are exceptions to those rules. Mayweather versus Pacquiao was an anomaly, and it was not the standard. That is not the natural fight. Like, the average fight is not going to do the numbers that Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao did, period. So we got to separate that particular fight. But outside of that, Manny Pacquiao wasn't fighting when he was with Top Rank. He wasn't fighting no PBC guys, not Danny Garcia, not whoever, Broner, Keith Thurman, Errol Spence. He didn't fight none. Notice when he signed with Al Heyman and started doing business and closed his career with them, all those fights were right there. His first fight was Broner. Oh, man, I did it for the hood. Oh, man, you know AB, ain't boo boy. He got the Pacquiao fight. Very next Pacquiao fight, Keith Thurman. He got an undefeated Keith Thurman for belts, right? Very obvious to see. He had the scheduled Errol Spence fight. Errol Spence got injured. They moved it to Ugas. So the point I'm making is Manny Pacquiao went where the action was and got all the big fights and closed his career like a true Hall of Famer, right? So why wouldn't you go where the action's at if you are Devin, if you are Shakur, if you are Teofimo or whoever, when you know he's the A side and you know that would likely strengthen, at the very least, it would strengthen your chances of getting a Tank Davis fight because you would already be there. And then, you know, from a promotional standpoint, if you are tethered to the company and you have a multi-fight deal, even if you were to beat one of their own, like one of the PBC fighters, but then you're signed to PBC, it wouldn't matter because it still would be in-house. Versus, do you think that Oscar De La Hoya wants to send Ryan Garcia to fight against a guy on PBC that he knows he can't win? Like, let's say Jerron Boots in it, something crazy, right? Why would you do that? So then PBC gets to make a star off of Ryan Garcia's name and then put Ryan Garcia in a pretty unwinnable fight, in my opinion, versus Jerron Boots Ennis. There's no upside for that. But if you do like Terrence Crawford, notice he went to Errol Spence, or he went to PBC and got the Errol Spence fight. It's really no different. So that's one thing that nobody outside of myself, a man with integrity and brains, is telling you. If you want crack, you go to a crack house. If you're hungry, you go to a food spot, you go to a restaurant. You go where the action's at. If you're fat and you want to lose weight, you want to burn calories, we all know that's called a gym. You go bring your fat, tubby, portly self to the gym for your New Year's resolution and you lose the weight at the gym, right? If you're hungry, you don't go to a hospital or a bank looking for something to eat. Yes, hospitals sometimes have cafeterias, but not every single branch of every hospital has food there or vending machine. So if I was starving and I had no other reason to be at the hospital, it's probably not the first place that I would go in order to look for food. And I dang sure wouldn't go to a bank. Why would I go to a bank looking for food? But if I just got paid a commission checks from one of these fat brand deals that I have, right, and I needed to deposit it, then I would go to the bank. I wouldn't go to the food spot with a big check and then expect Chipotle to do anything with that, because Chipotle is Chipotleing and they serving food. They're not in the business of cashing checks or opening up credit cards. So that's basically what this is. Go where the action is at. So hopefully Shakur looks at his options, and if it is an option, which I think it could be based on his talent, you go where the action is at for your career. Don't just call all the big fights from the sidelines, knowing it's harder to make with inherent sides of the street and stuff like that, when you have the opportunity to free yourself and then get mad when you don't get the big fight and just be from the sideline talking about, oh, the big, put me in the game, coach, put me in the game, coach. It doesn't make sense. So we'll see what these fighters decide to do that continuously call out Gervonta Davis. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation.